Hello guys, you're welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, my name is Bola. Thank you for joining. I'm the host on this channel, the Immigrant Nurse, and here we talk about immigration, migration, my life as a nurse, living and working currently in the United Kingdom, and so many other things. I get to share snippets of my life, okay, with you guys, and just talk about a couple of stuff that I find interesting. So today I'm going to be sharing with you guys, because a lot of people just make video on passing Nclex, how to pass Nclex, what they did up to the point of passing Nclex, but very few videos on what do you do now that you have passed your Nclex. What is the next thing to do? How do you, take it to the permanent site where you finally migrate to America to become a nurse? That is what I have come to share with you guys today. So I have written Nclex, I have passed my Nclex. What next do I need to do? If that's something you're interested in, stay tuned. Don't go anywhere. Just keep watching. All right. Firstly, I'm going to say congratulations on the success of your Nclex exam. You did that. Bravo. Well done to you. That was a good one. Now that you have passed your Nclex, what do you do next? So this is the point where you have to start taking things a little bit more seriously. However, that is going to depend on how soon you want to leave your current country of residence. So if you're one that you're not ready to move yet, I would say that, okay, now that you have passed Nclex, just keep your, Nclex license and just chill. So this particular situation is peculiar to people who are, interested in getting, maybe they want to get British passports before they move to America, because there are people like that who want to get their British passport, some want to get their ILR. However, on the topic of ILR, I'm going to say that it doesn't make any sense if you're planning to just get ILR and migrate afterwards, because your ILR will expire after 2 years. So if you're getting your ILR before you leave UK, it's just better you wait down 1 year, get your British passport, and move afterwards. So if you want to do that, you might want to just chill a bit, depending on what year you are in your UK journey. So when I say that, I mean if you've spent 3 years in UK and you don't mind waiting another 2 years to get your ILR, from the point of working on your ILR from your 5th year or from your towards the end of your 4th year, you can start processing your subsequent journey on the USRM pathway. Because currently, due to the retrogression, the USRM pathway can take you another 18 months before it comes through after you have passed your Nclex. So if you're in that category, just chill a bit for now, depending on how many years you have spent in the UK. If you've spent 4 years already in the UK, you might want to, start the process so that by the time you get your British passport, it will just be about time you are ready to move to America, if you get what I mean. But if you're the type that you don't care, since your American dream will be coming with a green card, you are not really very fussy about spending, especially if you have family, you are not fussy about spending 18,000-20,000, depending on the size of your family, on ILR, and you're just willing and ready to move immediately to the United States, then you want to start your process as soon as you have passed your Nclex. Just start right immediately. So what's the first thing you need to do after you have passed your Nclex? Now is the time for you to start preparing for your IELTS. So your IELTS is still very much required at this point. If you have a valid academic IELTS, you can use it, because the type of IELTS that is required is the academic one. The good thing, however, is that you can have as low as 6.5 as an overall score, but with a 7.0 in speaking. That is very, very important. So the requirements for IELTS for America is not as stringent as that for Canada or United Kingdom. So if you're able to score 6.5 all through and a 7 in your speaking, that brings you to an overall of 6.5, it is still very much acceptable. So while you're preparing for your IELTS, start applying for jobs. So there are different ways through which you can apply for a job. You can either apply through staffing agencies or direct hire. They are all staffing agencies. However, there are 2 types. There is the agency, you applying directly to recruitment agency, or you applying directly through what is called direct hire. So the way it works is, if you apply to an agency, you will be working for an agency. The agencies will not be the one to send you to hospitals, so you are technically working for those agencies while you are in the hospital. So I think I'm going to make another video on the difference between agency and direct hire, so that this video will not be too long. So when you're preparing for your IELTS, start applying for jobs. Submit as much application as you can. And what do you need to apply for a job? All you need is your CV. Just have a very current, up-to-date CV. You can check samples of, USRN CV on Google for templates, or if you want me to make a video on how to create a CV for this USRN thing, let me know and I'll make a video on that. So you can, you can submit your CV to all these agencies. However, depending on what you want and where you want, so that's the reason why it is very important that you should do your own personal research as well, to know the location of your choice, your preferred location of choice, your preferred area of expertise, maybe due to your previous experience as a nurse, if you prefer to work in ICU, if you prefer to work medical surgical, if you prefer to work as a theater nurse, depending on your previous experience, or if you are planning to start new adventure of nursing. So you must know all these things before you apply, because that is the way you can, tailor your CV to get the right job for you. So if you're planning to switch from maybe A&E to ICU, tailor your CV in a way that is going to work for you to get your ICU job, if you get what I mean. So yeah, start applying, submitting your CVs, reading contracts. However, under no circumstance should you sign a contract if you are not willing to go with the agency or the direct hire. Unlike when we were coming to UK, it was easy for you to sign contracts, and if you have not received COS, you can tell them that, oh, sorry, I'm not interested again, and they tick you off their list. For America, whether your green card is ready or your green card is not ready, don't sign any contract that you are not willing to go with. Because even if you sign contracts, and your green card, your I-40 petition has not gone through, for the contracts you have signed, you will refund them for all the stress they've gone through, doing all the things, paperwork and documentation they need to do. You will refund them. So the summary is, don't sign any contract until you've made up your mind that, okay, I'm happy with this offer, I'm happy with the terms and conditions, I've read the finest details, and I'm happy to go with them. Then sign the contract and go on. All right. So by the time you've applied, by the time you are applying for job and you're preparing for your IELTS, write your IELTS as soon as possible, and you're writing the academic IELTS. So first thing, book for IELTS and start preparing. While you are preparing, start applying for job. Next, write your IELTS and pass. Once you pass your IELTS, do your visa screen with your evaluation body. So if you are with CGFNS, if you did your credential evaluation with CGFNS, you have to do your visa screen with CGFNS. So all you need to do is just upgrade your portal, your details on your portal, update it that you have passed your Nclex, add your IELTS results to it. Then you can put the screenshot of the results that you got from the IELTS body, put it there, update it, pay your money for visa screen. I think at the moment it costs about $650, if I'm not mistaken. I'll put the right figure on the screen. But pay for your visa screen, and once you have your visa screen, if you are with CGFNS, I will advise you to do an e-save, electronic save for your visa screen, so that way they will be able to retain all your credentials and all your documents, just in case you need it anytime. If you do an e-save, I think it's going to last you for like 5 years. Your visa screen will last you for like 5 years. So in case of anything happens and you are trying to change your board of nursing, it will be easy for them to retrieve your documents to send to the current board of nursing that you are switching to, if that make any sense. Okay, so do your visa screen. Once you've done your visa screen, you've passed your IELTS, and you've gotten a job that fancies your interest, that you really like. Next thing you want to do is you want to sign your contract for that job. Once you sign your contract for that job, then they will file your I-140, and once you file your I-140, you wait for it to be approved. Once your I-140 is approved like this, you are like one leg into the US. However, I'm going to mention at this point that there are two types of visas that comes with this US migration pathway for registered nurses. It could be the HB1 visa or the EB3 visa. So the HB1 visa is the type of visa that you get work permits, like what we are doing in the UK now as skilled workers. You just get work permits, and maybe when you get there, within 1 year, you have to find a way of getting your green card. The EB3 is you go into the United States as a permanent resident, and that comes with its benefits. One of which is you are not going to be tied by any visa. You can do any job aside of nursing. You can pick on any shift. You can work 7 days in a row. Nobody is going to hold you to ransom. Your life is not bounded by, you know, what we are going through here in the UK. So you're as free as a bird. You can start a business. You can do whatever you want. You have all the rights and legal benefits of what every permanent resident in the United States has if you are on EB3 visa. Okay? Yeah. So back to the gist. That's just it. I digress. Sorry about that. So from the point your I-140 is filed, for the green card filing, it can take like 6 to 8 months on the average, but currently with the retrogression, it's definitely going to take longer post retrogression for the filing processing to be completed. Now, once the filing process is completed, you have to pay for your family. It's called family fee, an immigration visa fee. So for the immigration visa fee, you pay for your dependents if you have spouse and children, but your agency would most likely pay for you, and it costs about $345 per person. The whole fee processing can take about another week for it to come through. Civil documents can take about 12 weeks for it to be completed. For the review to be completed, they require you to do your medical screening. So you go for your medical screening, you get your police report from all the countries you've lived in the last 10 years as well, and submit all of those documents. So once you do your medicals, then you go for the proper interview. So this is the type of interview that you go to the embassy for. You go to the embassy for your interview. They do all the, you know, questioning and all of that. Then, time to get your visa. The ID interview usually happens 4 to 8 weeks from your final exit interview, which is like the interview that you do to eventually, you know, move to America. Once your visa is issued, in like 2 to 3 weeks, you should get it back. Once you have received back your passport, don't open the sealed envelope, the one that contains the visa stamp. Don't open the envelope that contains the visa stamp. So what you need to do next, you need to go and create an account. It's called an Ellis account. That's what you create. You create that account, pay an immigration fee of about $220. So this fee is like the criteria that is needed for your permanent residence card to be issued. So it's just best, it is better for you to complete this and complete the Ellis application and pay this fee before you leave your current country of residence to America, because the earlier you do it, the faster you get your green card. Once you get to America, that visa stamp envelope that is sealed is what will be the evidence that will be used to stamp your passport as a permanent resident in America. So you need that visa stamp, sealed envelope, for them to prove that, okay, you are coming in as a permanent resident. And you can use that as a proof for 1 year or until your green card is issued. Once the fee, it's $20 you paid, and your Ellis data page is confirmed, then expect your green card to be sent to you. And that's it. That's it. You're ready to go and enjoy your life as a permanent resident in the United States. All right? Until you have done this, don't resign at your job. Until you are legit sure that, okay, we have gotten to that point, I've gotten my visa. Don't resign at your job until you are legit sure. So once you get your visa, you're ready to travel. So you travel to America. Once you get there, within 30 to 90 days, you can get your green card all done. That is if you have processed the EB3 visa within 30 to 90 days. Sometimes it could take 6 months depending, but usually between 30 to 90 days your green card should be ready. And that's it. Welcome to America. God bless America. Okay guys, so let me know if you have any further question in the comments, and I'll do my best to answer your questions. Okay, thank you so much for watching guys. I'll see you in my next video. Till then, like, share, subscribe, drop a comment. I'll see you. Bye.